All right, let's do this. Good morning. Welcome back to my live stream. My name is Jeff Fritz, and it's August 25th, 2018. It's been a week away. Did you miss me? Because, man, oh man, did I miss you. Wow. Wow. Hey there. Let's see. Lannon BR, Coated Beard, and Brave Cobra. Welcome back. It's good to be back after a week away from Twitch. I'm going to get some music playing in the background here before we get any further and we start talking about what's going on. Today, let's go to the new song. This is called Judson from Music to Code By from our friend Carl Franklin. So we'll get that playing in the background. Thank you so much, Carl, for letting us play the Music to Code By. Music to Code By, of course, is music. It's songs that are engineered to get you in the groove, get you flowing, and get you focused on everything that you want to work on. Just like code might be homework, it might be whatever task. Thank you so much. Check it out at mtcb.pwop.com. Good morning, Ciantic. Yep, I need to change the background now that we're back. So the offline logo here on Twitch we need to update. Not a problem. I've got the old one. I can swap that in easily. So I like Sims? No, Ilk Sims? Well, thank you for the kind welcome. It's great to be back. I've been out for the last week. I had some sinus surgery on Tuesday. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice. But this was much needed. I had a complete block on the one side of my nose, and they went in there and cleaned that out and put my nose back together, and it feels really good to be able to breathe now out of both nostrils. It's like I've described it as listening to music in stereo for the first time after only hearing mono. So it feels really good to be able to breathe again. Hey, hello there, Zarnal. Lannon BR, VS Code extension you published last week, almost 50 installs. What, do you have a link you can share with us and we can open it up, take a look? Chat about that for a second. While that's coming around, I want to call this out. Let's head over here. There we go. Visual Studio 15.9. So this is the new preview release for what's going to be released sometime probably in the late fall. Was just published. 15.9 is a preview. Right now it just has a bunch of fixes for F# compiler. Some other F# improvements. There's improvements around the new Get Credential Provider. So if you're working with Visual Studio and you're bringing in packages from NuGet, right? So if you're working with .NET Core, if you're working with ASP.NET Core, and you're using external packages from NuGet, and particularly the .NET Core stuff, there's now a credential provider that they're using with authenticated package feeds. And this is going to be important as we go forward, and we want to have more things authenticated. We want to have identification that and approval, right? And some sort of a sign-off that says, yes, I'm using a package that has been genuinely built and served from NuGet.org, and not something that's been tampered with. So you're going to see a lot more going on there as NuGet becomes a little bit more secure. Awesome. So there's a link to VS Code JavaScript attentions. It puts annotations. It puts annotations for parameter names into function calls for JavaScript and TypeScript. Oh, very cool. So let's open this and take a look. So this sounds a little bit like, right? Goes through JavaScript, TypeScript, inserts parameter annotations. Hey, there we go. Thank you for the host code rushed. I don't. Currently in beta state, so it's easily noticeable to what a particular parameter is. Oh, thank you, Performench. No, I'm kind of expecting to see here in your screenshot exactly that annotation, and I don't see an annotation. Let's see. Let's install. Yeah, I know. I have Visual Studio Code. Thank you. Please open it. Good morning, Code for Veronica. Good to see you. So this is. I'm not gonna work with this project, but yes, please install. That's why I clicked you to install. See how that works? Let's close that folder. Nope. What do we got over here? What do we got? Don't really. Yep, let's open a folder. I'm going to go to CoreWiki because I know there's some JavaScript over there we can look at. Select that folder. Aaron and Cincy, good morning. Standby reloading. Hey, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling a heck of a lot better. There is... It's... If you've been watching the stream for a long time, you've probably seen in my face that I've been just getting tired. And back in January, you could hear me. I was all kinds of congested. I am feeling a ton better. Let's go over to our code here so we can take a look a little bit bigger. All right. So this does annotations in our JavaScript files. Huh? So let's open a JavaScript file. Let's try this one. So I've already got my code lens popping up here. Did it install? Get blame, get history, get lens, parameter annotations. So where does it show up? Thank you for the host dev chatter. Try saving the file and it should annotate everything. All right. This is a test. Oh, look at that. Okay. And is... So... Yeah, it's kind of... I'm not quite sure what it's... Ooh, wait a sec. Moment, date... There was a thing that popped up. Okay, that's me. Yeah. Open the JS file and save. Oh boy, that's a bug. Let's take a look-see. Let me reopen. So I just added this as a test. Yeah, some of these... I think I see what you're trying to do. These should be inside of here with kind of a name as to what this is. But this dot, and there's a dot this attribute. All right. Well, let us know how that goes. Like in console log, it says message next to the function. Like in query selector, all the selectors should be in the left and not in the middle. Yeah. Yeah, that should be over here, I would think. So it's selectors : string. Those are the names of the parameters and the declarations. Svetzal says, JetBrains products have been doing that for a while. Found it handy. Nice to see it here. Yeah, it is. So, all right. Well, good luck with it. I mean, that's a cool idea for an extension. And I always like these type of... They're helpful because they haven't broken your code. They're giving you more information that at first glance as a developer make your life easier. So that's kind of cool to see. Well, good luck with it. Let us know how that goes. And absolutely, I'll keep that installed here so I get the updates. So what I wanted to do today... So we got the update. There's an updated version of Visual Studio 2017. I've installed that update because I always want to be using the latest updates of Visual Studio. It's kind of my job, you know. I want to talk about... That's okay. This is a little bit that I was doing with the Twitch API over the past week. And Lannon, you saw I just opened CoreWiki and looked at Site.js, so you should be able to pull that down from our GitHub repository and take a look-see. Thank you for the welcome back, President Not Sure. It's great to be back. I am feeling good. Yes, indeed. So, we are at 3297 on the Rainbow Beard Challenge. I did a quick look at, what was it, Twitch stats. There's like a Twitch stats page, channel analytics. I think, yeah, no, that's me. There's somebody that has a Twitch, there it is, Twitch tracker. So here's what I did. I went in here and I did a search on my own channel. Oh, let me tell you, that was a problem. Look, that's me. And not mature content. I beg to differ. Creative. Yeah, okay, we're kind of creative. Statistics. This is where I went. So looking at this, oh, that looks nice. Look, it looks like I'm actually doing something and growing. Followers increase, number of streams per month. Yeah, I took a week off here, all right? Sue me. There is a future view on this to project how far out we'll be at a certain... Where'd it go? Was it here? One of these had a place that said, where are you going to get... You can put in, you know, how much you want to get, how far out you want to see. You're going to get a certain number of followers if you grow at the same rate. And, my gosh... There was, let's see, there was Social Blade. This was it. Yeah, it was this one. And they'll project how far out you go. C+. I guess. I'm no Dr. Disrespect, let me tell you. So total video views per month. Okay, that's nice. Future projections. This is the one. So looking at the future projections, it's going to take about 4 months for us to get to 5,000. If I click followers milestone here, for 5,000, it says we're not going to get there till December. That's a lot. Oh, fantastic. Great to hear that, Lannon, that you were able to reproduce what we saw here. Good luck. It's always good to have something reproducible, and my friends on the .NET and Visual Studio teams kind of cringe a little bit when I show some things here and it doesn't work quite right. But they end up with amazing video that they're able to refer back to and say, well, see, it didn't work over there, and there's all the source code Jeff was using. I know, C+, I tell you, President, not sure. We're working on that. We'll get better. But we're not going to get to 5,000 until almost December. So trying to get to 5,000 here is we're either going to need to really ramp up, or we're going to need to change our goal. So I'm going to be thinking about this, reevaluating this, and we'll see what we can do here over the next week to get there. But we're moving. So, all right. That's enough about me and statistics. I wanted to talk about the Twitch APIs. So one of the things that I've been doing that I want to track as I've been building some of these gauges and things that you see here to kind of keep track of the size of our community, the engagement of our community. It's important to me that I know when I'm doing something that you enjoy, and so that I can repeat that. And it really, one of the metrics that I have that I can measure, that I can go against, is the number of folks that are watching or that click through and follow because they see some sort of advertising, they see some level of engagement, somebody promoting and saying, hey, this is really great, you should check out what Jeff's doing over here. So Twitch has an API that you can use, and anybody can sign up to use this. You sign up with your Twitch account, and they have an API that uses webhooks. Now, if you haven't used webhooks before, Webhooks it's a very simple API, really. There's two sides to this. Let's go to the guide here. No, I was wrong. The reference. Yep. So a webhook is a notification that you will receive. Let me start at the top. I know I'm scrolling around here quickly. I'm sorry. So you'll receive a notification at some sort of a web address that you tell Twitch about. And you might receive something like this when you subscribe to the followers notification. So I'm saying to Twitch, hey, notify me when this happens. So you end up with this publish subscribe type of interaction, right? I'm subscribing to this notification. Something happened out on Twitch that you wanted to know about. So Twitch sends a command down to me that says, here's the payload of what you wanted to know about, right? They're raising an event and notifying me across network lines. So here they'll notify me in this case. Let's zoom in just a little bit. That there was a follow from this person with Twitch ID 1336 to this person with Twitch ID 1337, and here's when they did the follow. So I can set up a subscription that says notify me when that happens. Now, I do get notifications while we're here on stream because I've got the cool widgets and things happening. Steve will show up and say, hey, developers. And that's nice. That gives me that information. I get it, and I can work with it. But I only get that information while I'm streaming. When I'm not streaming, how do I get that data? So that's something that I was juggling with, and I was trying to figure out how can I start capturing that. Let me go to the chat room and just catch up here. I use the console on Azure now with .NET Info to check the status of their rollout before pushing. Wait. At the end of the day, the bug is going to exist. At least if they do. How does webhooks compare to Websockets? So Websockets is an open, persistent connection between two endpoints, and you're effectively listening the whole time. And there's a timeout period that does happen, and it does take up some resources to do that. Where webhook is a disconnected a disconnected relationship, right? My server is sitting here, your server is over there, and there's only a very quick communication that says, oh, this event happened, and it sends the notification and makes sure that it's received. Once it's been received and it gets a 200 back from it, it won't try to send the notification again. So what about PubSub? PubSub, the way that it works here, is very much that open connection where over a TCP connection using WebSockets. So once again, you have to leave this connection open the whole time. Now, while the show is going on, while the stream is going on, this makes sense. But I don't want to leave this open 24/7, 365, because then my server is using a bunch of resources to listen for stuff that might not actually happen. So, very cool. There's a bunch of different topics out here that I can listen to that, to be honest, I don't care for my purposes of generating some metrics and reporting on what's going on. I'm not trying to monitor how many bits come in or channel subscriptions, someone making a purchase or whispers. That's not what I'm looking for here. Cryptrix asks, with the webhook, how does your subscriber know that it is genuine and not a spoof? Very good question. And that gets down a little bit into the implementation details. I'll show you that in a second. There was a note on the release saying it might take a week to roll to Azure, so I remembered this time. Found out the hard way this week that Azure App Services doesn't support ASP.NET Core App 2.1.3. Requires updating any published profiles you have. That should be coming sooner than later. Good morning, Denerd 100. Great to see you. And Josifo? Or is that Joe Sifo? Did you ever think of how many successful programmers come from America, like Bill Gates, Zuckerberg, blah, 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 having genes coming from Europe, some sort of analytical thinking? I think there's successful folks that come from everywhere. It's just a question of innovations and how they catch on. The folks that want to take the leap. They want to try something new. Right, take that risk. I know in speaking with some of my friends in Germany, to get that investor that wants to take the risk in a new organization, it's very hard. Gates programmed, but not as much as he's given credit for, and very analytical. All the folks, I haven't met him personally, but the folks that I work with who have been working with him, he's very analytical. While he might not be actively programming, he knows his stuff inside and out. He'll ask you questions that you did about the limits of applications and whatever you're presenting to him that you haven't even considered. Zuckerberg very much is a hardcore programmer, but I think that's affecting his business acumen. Ellison, I don't even want to talk about Larry Ellison. Culturally, he's got a real problem there, and I'm not going to go too much further into that. A lot of America's biggest companies are founded by immigrants. Yeah, they are. But Gates, I wouldn't say was a great programmer. Zuckerberg, let's face it, Facebook is really it's a CRUD-based system that has huge scale. Weird Al calls him up at home to do tech support. How cute. The programmers you listed are more business savvy and not at this point, not necessarily great programmers. I would agree with. In their past, when they started, absolutely. I would absolutely say that when they started their companies, they were. There comes a point where you get further along that you don't need to be a great programmer. Not sure it's still a PHP code base. It is. Facebook is one of the largest is the largest PHP application in the world. It runs on their own compiler. It's not running on the stock PHP compiler any longer. But it is PHP. It compiles to C++. I'm not sure what it compiles down to. The compiler has changed a bit, but yeah, that's definitely a thing. Little we strayed from the original discussion. We did. So I was working with the Twitch APIs, and it's weird because they have the PubSub API, the new Twitch API, Twitch API v5, there's Twitch API v2. Which one should I be using? Because if I look at new Twitch API, it doesn't have a version number that goes with it. If I look at API v5, it goes from, there's v3, it's being deprecated, v5 deprecated, but new Twitch API is supported, but it's confusing. So I'm trying not to use this v5, I'm trying to use this one. It is very confusing code for Veronica. So what I did, I wanted to receive these notifications when I got new followers. So to subscribe to events, you have to post to this location, right? So you set up an HTTP endpoint, an HTTP call, right? Just like browsing to a website. And you post, just like pushing a button to post a form, you're going to post data to this website with these elements in JSON format, right? That JavaScript object notation format. So where should I deliver those notifications? Makes sense. Am I subscribing? Am I unsubscribing? And then what they call the topic. What is it that you want to know? And I've got these 5 topics that I can subscribe to. And the first 2 are really the ones that I care about. User follows and stream up and down. Now, what's interesting, the API I'm currently working out isn't documented. Oh, we'll get there in just a second, Smab. So I can be notified when the user follows, right? When I get a new follow, I can be notified when a stream starts and stops, and that's going to be important to me. As you know, I'm working on the Visual Studio channel. We're getting real close to launching, and I want to be able to host folks on the Visual Studio channel. But I only want to host folks when they're doing programming or technical content, because otherwise, if one of our streamers that we normally host starts playing Fortnite, starts doing whatever, something different, starts playing Hearthstone, starts whatever, I don't want to syndicate that as a priority over somebody who is doing something programming and technical on the channel. So we need to figure that out. I want to make sure that I don't trample on those things, and I want the hosting to be a little bit more filtered and capable. So that's what I've got to figure out. And I want to receive a stream up-down by following and saying, okay, well, are these people that I'm interested in starting and stopping? And when they are, what are they broadcasting about, so I can decide whether to host them or not? So that's what I want to do there. I want to know how, they also want to know, how long do you want to be listening to this? And I can listen for this 86,400 when you do the math. That's the number of seconds in a week. So in 10 days, I'm sorry. So you can listen for up to 10 days. Okay. Host if they are currently in the programming community. Exactly. Or, right, if they programming community, there's going to be a programming tag. They're changing to science and technology community, which I think sounds much nicer than hobbies and crafts. And if you've been watching my friend Fierce Kittens, she's quite upset that creative is going to hobbies and crafts. Literally, she's not happy. Yeah. Okay. Least Fixed Point asks, I hope you don't mind me asking, but do you have any schedule on F# Fridays yet? There's an event the week after next. So this Friday I could do an F# Friday. The week after I'm doing a workshop. The week after that is .NET Conf, and I'm doing 24 hours of streaming. 24 hours of streaming. World exclusive. The only place that you're going to find that. And all .NET. All day. The week after that, we could do it. Right, because that puts us... Let's look at the calendar real quick here. So we're going to run a workshop here on the 7th. I am 24-hour streaming here. I could do something on the 21st. I am at Ignite on the 28th. October 5th, I am at Tech Bash. October 12th, we could do something. October 19th, I think I'm still home. October 26th, I'm at TwitchCon. Thanks so much, Veronica, for stopping by. November 2, I am in Las Vegas at No-Op Conference Day. Right? Yeah. Home. This is the last day that I'll be home. I'm out on vacation this week. Oh, I'm taking a holiday. Can you believe it? I'm back this week. I'm at Vegas for Dev Intersection here. And then I am taking holiday for 3 weeks in December. I'll still be streaming, though. So it's going to be hit or miss. Really got unlucky with Fridays. We'll see what we can do here. So that's what's happening. That's my schedule. That's where I'm going to be. Am I going to be able to host streams from those locations? I'm really going to try to. Am I going to be doing F#? Don't know yet. But there's definitely going to be a few, at least, it's going to be at least 3 weeks before I can, it's going to be at least 4 weeks before I can get back. Because I've got 2 major events. So, yeah, those were some sound effects. That's right! I've got sound effects. They are right here in the background because Smokeless! Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. But I do have sound effects because, of course...
But what I do have
What do I have?
are a very particular set of skills.
Very particular.
Skills I've acquired over a very long career.
Yeah. I know how to push buttons and make people talk.
Do it!
Okay, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Yesterday was a great stream from Carlio. Carlio or Clark.io? Yesterday was Brian Clark and John Papa did a stream together, and that was kind of cool to see. They did a great job. Steve shows up as if on cue. Yes, indeed. And that follower count didn't go up. I expected the follower count to increase. Why didn't it go up yet? It went up over there. Why didn't it go up? There it goes. All right. So I set up, coming back to the Twitch API, so I set up a little thing that'll do this post for me. And what's tricky is that Twitch wants to make sure and let you know that you're actually doing this. So we got to go all the way to bottom here where they actually tell you, here's what you're supposed to do when this comes in. Because after you submit this post, here's what you're supposed to do. You're going to submit this post, and they did it with a curl here. Now, I know how to read curl, the curl command line, but I'm going to be doing this with C#. Because it's C#, right? I like to listen to extroverts, people, since I'd rather be shy. We're thankful. Oh, no problem, Josepho. Honestly, I'm a bit of an introvert myself. And I'm literally talking to my wall. There just happens to be a camera right here that I'm looking at. So, I'm breaking out of my shell. Anyways, when you send that post to Twitch, right, and you send all that information, they'll respond with an accepted flag. And then here's the question earlier. How are you sure that they're actually authenticated and who they say they are? You can pass along a secret that they will use to hash and put some information in the response that you can verify. Sir Raderson, thank you for the follow. Let me know if I'm pronouncing your name right. Sir Raderson? Sir Riderson? So, tabs versus spaces. Oh, Lannon, I'm so sorry to hear tabs versus spaces problem. Ooh. I tend to use Postman instead of curl. President not sure? That was spoiler alert. That's where we're going. I'll get there. So after you send this message in, Twitch responds by saying, okay, 202 accepted, right? HTTP status 202 says, I've accepted that response, and I'm going to do something else. They send out a verification request to wherever you told it that you're listening in this callback field. So they send a get there that says, okay, I hear you've subscribed to this topic follows, and you're going to listen for this long. Here's a challenge. This is a nonce. This is a one-time use code that it's sending you, that it expects back for you to say, I got it, I heard what you said, proceed. So you respond with that, okay? Now, here it is. I was fighting with this thing for days. Because what I did was I set up an Azure function. Okay, so if I go to Azure Functions, doing the Azure Functions, on the Azure. So, Twitch data processing. I set up this function app. And here we go, functions. And I wrote all my functions in C# in Visual Studio. And I'll share the code to these later after I clean it up a little bit, only because I started dropping some different keys and things in there. So I have this method that receives that information, and that code is actually right. Here it is. Track follows. So it's going to receive an HTTP request message. And I'm going to first check and say, do we need to handle verification? Handle verification checks for the mode, and if it's challenging. If it's sent me that challenge thing. If it has, and I'm in subscribe mode, then I'm going to grab that challenge value, say, mark this as a status, okay, yeah, I got it, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to write that content right back out. Which, according to this, makes perfect sense. That's exactly what I wanted to do. Here's the thing. Hey, President Not Sure, you back off on my light theme there, okay? I like it.
It can be done exactly how I want it.
With light theme.
The only question is, are you the man to do it?
Darn Skippy I am. Better than hot dog stand theme. He's got a point there. McDerdius does. All right. So I wrote back the challenge because that's what looks like exactly what I had there, and it failed. How did I know it failed? There is a... I'm going to go back up to the top now. There is a Get Subscriptions endpoint that will tell you, here's the subscriptions that you have. And it'll report out here the different topics and whatnot. So I was using this in Postman to figure out, do I have subscriptions? Hey, Crows 4K. So what was the problem? I was forcing my content type to text plain. I was initially not even setting my content type. I was just echoing that string, and it was coming out as XML. Because ASP.NET Core, because Azure Functions tries to set the media type appropriately based on what's been requested. And it wasn't requesting anything, so for some reason it was defaulting to XML format. So it was coming out with XML tags around, back down to the bottom again, around this response. That's a problem. That's not what it wants, so of course it was failing. I found out that it needs to be text HTML, so I now set the text HTML header here, output this, and it works. Now I get things subscribing. So, President Not Sure, that would have been appropriate. That would have been acceptable to me. If I was getting a request header that came with this that said, accept text HTML, fantastic. I can detect that and echo the appropriate content type. But it wasn't sending me that accept header. Right? So, in case you haven't worked with this before, the web sends this content type and accept header so that it knows how to communicate back and forth. What's the format of what we're sending in this payload when you make a request across the web? So when I do things like request, here's my Twitch subscriptions, you pass along a header and you can tell it, here's what type of data I want. Now, there's a code embedded in here. This is another layer of security, which I'm going to now have to replace, that tells Twitch, this is the key to log in and use the Azure function. And now that I've shown you that, I now need to change that, and that feels bad. But if you look at the headers here, there is and it's not even here. When I make a request to some other website, right? Like if I go to bing.com, right? And I look at the headers, see that content type, text HTML, and then the character set. But when I made that request, I can make that request and pass along a header that says accept. And I can specify that I would like text plain. And if I send that, I didn't even format it all correctly. There we go. Right? It still comes back with HTML because Bing ignores this. But I could interpret that. I could read that and format my content appropriately for that accept. Now, this is how we can get back images. We'll request an image and we'll say, I accept all these different image types, and it sends that information back. So you can work with that in header keys. Yeah, I know. It feels weird that Postman doesn't autocomplete. And it fails silently. It is the worst kind. So, this is what I was fighting with, and I eventually, only because I found somebody else who was working with, they said, oh, I set that to text HTML, and it works. Okay. Fiddler is good to see the request and response clearly. It is Beck Bristow. But this is happening out against an Azure function out here. So I needed to deal with that. Shield of C#. Yes, I'm wearing my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. hat today because, and it's even got, right, it's got Nick Fury underneath there. I've been watching a lot of Marvel movies the last few days. A lot. So there was a question up there from Josepho. Do you cope with being at 80,000th best place on Stack Overflow? I don't care what place I'm on at Stack Overflow. Your position on Stack Overflow over time doesn't really matter. So what? This doesn't do anything for me. Right? Next privilege at 10,000 rep. I don't care. I've reached 582,000 people. That's nice. 42 responses. I've stopped actively responding on this account. Top 5% overall. That's nice. I'm 21,000. Okay. Really, if this is something that you're interested in competing, you want to show up and look smart or whatever, I would focus on where is it? The monthly leaderboard. Where's the leaderboard? They moved things around on me. It's been forever since I've been here. What is that? Reputation changes. Okay. That's mail. New code of conduct. Finally. It's good to see because there are some people on Stack Overflow who are not the friendliest. Is it under users? Here we go. Right, if you're competing for one of these for the week or the month, great. The all-time, forget it. Literally, forget it. It's a million reputation for John Skeet. Forget it. It's not even worth it. I wouldn't consider myself high-ranking, and I got in there a long time ago, and it just rolls over, and people vote on things that I commented on a long time ago. You can run Azure Functions on the edge too. Yes, you can run them locally, but I can't listen from my machine to Twitch, right? I would need to punch a hole in firewalls and a whole bunch of stuff, and it's just a pain in the neck to manage. Having a lower rep ranking on Stack Overflow just means you have a relatively low rep number. Yep. It's partially arbitrary. Don't worry about what you see for those numbers and things from other folks. You do your thing. People will notice you. People will find you. I've got a bit of a promotional machine behind me here on Twitch at this point, and I'm grateful for that. I'm exceptionally grateful for our community that we've built here. This didn't grow up overnight. This has taken me 9 months to get here, 10 months to get here. Do your thing. Write your own blog post. Patience is very much important when you're trying to grow a reputation. Okay. It shows how much reputation. So, how do you ship .NET Core apps? Do you build MSI or use Docker? For example, I want to give client application. What is the best way to do that? Honestly, right now I would use Docker, and that's what I'm using for. We can do that with CoreWiki. I use that for our stream tools. I would definitely recommend Docker right now because you will end up shipping everything you need in a nice little package, and every server can run it now. Yeah, there you go. Standby reloading. There's always somebody that is higher than you on the stats, unless you're talking to John Skeet. And even then, if you're talking to John Skeet, he doesn't brag about his stats. So, Chowder Crab, thank you so much for the subscription. I appreciate you using your Twitch Prime account here with us. Chowder Crab's going to get... and Whiteland 92. Oh my gosh. Thank you. The subscribe train is here, both with their Twitch Prime accounts. If you have a Twitch Prime account, you can use it here. It's actually an Amazon. You can get your Amazon Prime account, hook it up to Twitch. It'll turn off your ads that you see in the pre-roll before the channels. And you can use a subscription on one channel for free. And if you use your subscription here, you'll get the cool .NET Bot emote. And, of course, you'll get my thanks. And I will match those. And we will make a donation to Girl Develop It. The Twitch Prime ad free is going away in about a month out. It goes away. And I'm sad to see that, but I understand why they're doing that. Because they need to start rolling ads again. They've got a lot of folks with Twitch Prime, and they need to start rolling ads so they can sell those ads. So you make the Docker image with source code inside. No, I don't put the source code inside. I deploy into the Docker image. Maybe we can do that here in just a little bit. So I want to wrap up what I'm talking about regarding this code, and then we'll go back over to CoreWiki and maybe we'll talk about that. If I was a company owner, I would not employ people with Stack Overflow reputation under 100. Disagree, Josepho. There are some people who don't want to contribute to Stack Overflow. That's not a community that they want to contribute to. Nor is it a community that they have any interest in happening, in being a part of. There are some folks that are very private about their source code and about their technology. I'm more looking for folks who have an understanding of it, who do demonstrate some awareness of what's going on. I'm not going to punish them because they're not active in one community or another. So, it's a legitimate question. It's a legitimate. I'm not gonna knock you down. For the last few years, there has been a bit of open hostility on Stack Overflow, and they've acknowledged it, and that's why they've created their code of conduct. It's nice that the new ASP.NET Core preview contains Bootstrap 4 and Angular 6 updates for templates. Yes, a long time. Gotta head out, get some stuff on it. Have a good one, Smokeless. Thanks so much for joining us. So I have these functions out here, and they're talking back and forth, and I have, to finish this, what's actually doing my subscription, I have this read off of a queue, and you're not going to be able to see what it does, and it'll fire that subscription request out. So I've got everything now in an Azure function, and it does that interaction for me. So, yeah, we've been up for about 50 minutes, and it's time to get back into some code. So this is what I've been working on. I've got this just about done, doing all of that interaction for me, and then I'm logging some information to a database, so I can generate some cool graphs of followers and all of that interesting stuff that's happening. So that's where what I've been playing with, what I've been tinkering with, because I really want to have a great reporting system to go with our Visual Studio channel, so that we can really get some feel as to how it's doing, if it's succeeding. I'm not tracking any personal information. I'm only tracking that ID of who it is that's following. So, yes, thank you, Brave Cobra. I try to avoid their search results unless I'm really stuck. I've been having a real hard time with their search results. Yeah. Release is still a few months away, but I've started looking at the new templates. While the ASP.NET Core release is a few months out, the new templates are pretty good. You can start using them. You're not going to get burned on it. Okay. So I wanted to get back into CoreWiki here. Let's close out Postman and okay. Back to GitHub, C# Fritz, doing the CoreWiki. And there are 2 pull requests out here. Brave Cobra has some architecture documentation for us. Some commits from 7 days ago. And 16 files. So these are, it looks like they're all in the docs. Sure. That's fine. We've got some docs updates, so let's merge that in. And then we can take a look. Thanks for the docs. And then let's take a look at what we got there. I will go down into Project New Data. Docs. So there's the architecture PowerPoint that I put together a while ago when we did our initial bit. So C4 models describing the architecture: context, CoreWiki system, website, backend, mobile app. Yes, we talked about a mobile app at some point. I see what you're doing there, Josepho. All right. Offers articles that other visitors can comment on. You have a reader, that's a person who visits the CoreWiki website, reads articles and comments on them. You have an author, an authenticated user who manages articles, comments on the website, manages articles, and internal comments. CoreWiki system provides a wiki blog to users, and we're going to display external comments from Discuss or some other service. So an external commenter, all right, makes sense. We're going to send emails to users using SendGrid to send email. All right, makes sense. Authenticate users using some sort of external authentication provider, and those providers are things like Twitter, Facebook, and whatnot. Makes sense. Articles managed by authenticated users only. Yes. Authentication provided by ASP.NET Identity, which can also be configured, blah, 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 blah. Yep. Very good. Cool. In CoreWiki containers. All right, so the next step down. So now we're unpacking and looking a little bit inside of this. ASP.NET Web Frontend, providing web pages, Razor pages described in CoreWiki Frontend. I may want to change that to ASP.NET Core, but that's fine. CoreWiki backend, CoreWiki mobile app, not on the roadmap just yet. It's coming. Which uses the databases and described in CoreWiki backend. Articles database, identity database to store user identities. Yes. So we have author, manages articles through CoreWiki web, offers web frontend to CoreWiki. All right. Communicates to CoreWiki backend, which is an ASP.NET Core container. We don't have a backend yet, do we? Not yet. Coming soon. And then mobile, okay. Article database, identity database, Lucene directories for searching. Coming. We've been talking about this one. So, Block 9P. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. Steve, you're busy. You're getting busy here. Auth provider Beschreibung. Beschreibung? I'm trying to remember my German here, and I don't know what that means. The next steps down are the front end and the back end. So our front end, reading pages, managing pages, identity pages. Yep. This is all laying out things. Query article and comment DTOs to send commands using Mediator. Yeah. Okay. Cool. And if I go to the backend service takes the client. Oh boy. API controllers, identity application, right, to retrieve authorization. Identity comes out of this database. Okay. So we could be searching, which comes out of our search application, article persistence. So writing the articles to a database and then writing it to our search index. Cool. It's not spaghetti. We're all right. Hey, ThinkBot Labs and G. Byerly, good morning. It's not spaghetti. There's a lot of logic going on here. Contains business rules for articles and comments, includes domain services when multiple domain objects are involved. Cool. All right. So, very cool to see all of that explanation. Ah, shoot, I closed my GitHub for CoreWiki. All right. So there's one other pull request here, and that's for the dark theme. We should go back and take a look at that. Node.js dependency was opened here. What's this? Why is there a Node.js dependency to build this project? Because there is. I'm not using Node. I'm using packages from Node, because that's where I get them. We don't use Node to actually run the application. We don't run Node to host the application, but we do use npm to fetch and install packages for the application. That may change in the future with the .NET, right? Is it client lib? Right? Am I thinking? No. Right? Isn't it the client lib? Libman, yeah. Yeah, that's it. It's not here in that one. Libman CLI. There we go. So Libman will let you install these things without having to use npm. So I'm not. I'm not going to get bent out of shape on this one. We'll figure it out later. Start using CodeMade plugin. We'll refer to them later. We'll refer to the docs a little bit later. Should be libperson. Oh, Ashley's here. Hey. Well, see, now if you say libperson, there's son in there, and that's a guy. So, lib per child? I don't know. How do we... yeah. Anyway, it is on the dev branch. I prepared it for the last stream. Aha! Lib being. Well, there you go. Aaron's got something there. That might work. This is a suggestion. Would be great if I started using CodeMade. Code written on the streams would be cleaner and easier to use in the future. Anybody use CodeMade? Libcore. Now cut that out. Libcore. I don't know. I think that's going a little far. We need to back off on that. Open source Visual Studio extension to clean up and simplify. Gosh, choose a language. Clean up random white space in a simple standard order. Code reorganizing. Comment formatting. Code digging. Anybody work with CodeMade? We still need package.json for the Bootstrap source files. Shouldn't you be able to get that with Libman? ThinkBot. Anyone use JetBrains Writer? Know of a way to scroll, zoom all pages at once? I've recently switched to this IDE. Can't find a way. I haven't used Writer yet. Does libman work for ASP.NET, not Core? It does. The CLI actually works with just .NET. It's a global tool, and all it's doing is writing files into your project, right? So here, let's try installing this real quick. Wait, I've already got a PowerShell. There we go. So it's a global tool. It doesn't get coupled directly to your application. It only gets the bootstrap dist files, not the source. Really? So if I do that, let's go up one and over here. What do I have off there? We'll figure that out in a bit. If I go down to here. Right, so if I say, well, libman updates libman JSON. So if I say libman install bootstrap. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Thank you, Ashley. NuGet team does not want to serve front-end packages anymore. Wrong. Standby reloading. As the program manager of NuGet, when that decision was made, that was not what happened. We're struggling heavily with NPM right now. I hear that from a number of folks. NuGet is being focused on to deliver just binary .NET code. Why duplicate and deliver JavaScript code that's already being managed and handled by another package manager? Why reinvent that? There's no reason to reinvent that. It's already being managed on npm.js, on cdn.js, so no reason to reinvent that. Thank you, Smap. I'll come back to that in a second. So there's no why reinvent those things when there's an authoritative place to go get them, and you had Microsoft people whose job it was literally to ensure that NuGet had the same thing that was in NPM. So as NPM was versioned, you had someone wake up in the middle of the night because somebody was complaining, hey, why doesn't NuGet have the latest Angular 1.0 point whatever? So they tried automating it, and even then it was a pain in the neck to maintain copies. Why not just refer people and make it easier to use those other plugins? And that's what they've been doing since. And it makes sense as we want to focus NuGet on just .NET features. When you need to reach over and integrate into some other platform, provide hookups so that you can integrate with that platform. They don't want to serve front-end packages. They don't want to duplicate them. Yes. And it wasn't so much... Yeah, okay. Does this mean the Bootstrap and jQuery NuGet packages will finally no longer be bundled in the templates? In the older ASP.NET .NET Framework templates, there was an effort to pull them out, to separate them. I'm not sure where that has landed. Twitter Bootstrap, yeah. It's called Twitter Bootstrap? Are you kidding? What's it doing? Okay, that's a pain in the neck. And All right, let's take a look at that. So there's libman, and it's grabbing Twitter Bootstrap 413, which is only slightly weird. But I thought you could... There we go. There's the files. Oh, but those are the dist files. CDN.js. Right, isn't that it? Oh my gosh. Alright, so if I would look at Twitter Bootstrap, which, wow, that's old. Well, yeah, the CDN doesn't have the source files there at all, does it? Okay. I'm not sure what unpackage is. But yeah, you're not going to be able to get the source files there. Yep. Yep, default all. So you can choose which files to take, but yeah. I definitely see the challenge with that. So I'm going to go up here to lib and get rid of Twitter Bootstrap. Goodbye! Okay. Do I need them? We do get the source files so that we can compile and build our themes. Right, that's happening. Where is it? Bundle. Right, isn't it in here? I thought... Yeah, we compile new ones. If you use the SCSS, it is nice to use them. Yeah, Shoot, where are they? That's the manifest, no. Yeah, I don't want to go over to the... I don't want to jump over to the dev one. It's not over here. Oh. There they are. So there's the site theme. Theme ouch, theme dark. And if you look at those CSSs, those SAS files, right? So there's all the input, and it imports the Bootstrap SAS files. Yep. Hook in the CSS and JavaScript to Bootstrap and rebundle it. So that's what we're doing with those. And I'm out of coffee. Time to switch beverages. Put that over there. Better. Okay. So we can't use libman just yet because we do need those source files so that we can rebuild our themes. We can't completely use it, right? So we'll still use npm a little bit. Okay. We are still splitting our domain logic up in our architecture. Now we brought in that documentation. All right. Let me see where we left things here. Let's get diff. I bet you that's site.js. Yeah. So let's I'll reset. Don't need either of those changes. Cool. All right. So we had been writing tests. Where's my test explorer? Live unit testing, go. Thank you. Windows, test explorer, there it is. All right. Everything's green, makes me feel good. Okay. You can look at the source on the GitHub site dev branch without switching locally. Yes, I can do that. So if we go down into core, wrong one. This one. There's libman. So it's bringing in, from CDN, it's bringing in the latest stuff from Bootstrap. From CDN, it's bringing in from Popper, jQuery, jQuery validate, validation obtrusive, moment, simple MD. Now, what we could do, we still have package.json here, and it's bringing in Bootstrap. We could have libman instead of reaching out to the CDN to bring that in. Oh, thank you for the follow, Josepho. And actually, does that throw us over to 3,300? Does that put us to 3,300? I see 32.99. One to go. Instead of pulling it from CDN, you could pull it from the file system and have it copy those files over directly instead of getting it twice. But kind of a handy tool, but you do, in the case that where we're rebuilding our own themes, it kind of makes sense to have two separate processes. All right. I think we fixed this one. No, it's that bit there. Okay. I'm not going to install CodeMade right now. So let's go back over here. Some of these... So where we had left off, we had a our CoreWiki application. There it is, 3,300. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Look at that. Anyways, so we had been migrating this application from a very simple CRUD entity framework only connection to our data store, and we've been opening it up, making it a little bit more maintainable, a little bit more enterprisey by adapting the CQRS architecture framework, bringing some domain objects in so that we can centralize our business logic, put it in one place instead of sprinkled throughout all of our code, right? Mr. Tethys, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. I'm realizing now that I didn't put a notification on Reddit that I was going live today. That's okay. The people on Reddit are a little crazy. They'll argue with anybody about anything. And if that makes them happy, good for them. Not my problem. Where was I? So we've been doing this refactoring, and I've got some methods like this to domain that I want to get rid of, because I want to simplify these conversions and these interactions back and forth between same amount of viewers as usual. Now, in Saturdays we were getting up close to 100, so we're a little short. Pepsi Max is love. Good morning, Pepsi Max. So we're using C# and ASP.NET Core to build an application it's a content management system. It's a wiki, just like Wikipedia, but it's one that you can own and control, configure however you need it to be. And most importantly, we're learning more about software development as we're building it. It's all open source. It's all available on our GitHub. There's a link on the Twitch channel below to the GitHub repository if you'd like to check it out. But it's a very simple application. It runs with SQLite databases, but we're opening this up. We're updating it so that we can we can start to take other database formats. Ooh, caffeine. I like. I like. Look at that, Pepsi Max. Looks like you've got a friend in McNerdius. There you go. A couple points to you there. All right. So, I've actually I've stopped drinking as much soda, and I've started trying G Fuel, and it's interesting. It's definitely it sounds dope. Oh, thank you. I appreciate the compliment, Pepsi Max. I hope you appreciate me calling you Pepsi Max and I'm dropping the is love at the end. But I don't think the mappers are to be extension methods, but that's syntax sugar for your caffeine. Hey, I like that, Brave Cobra. You've talked about Reddit and Stack Overflow, which have some issues with their communities. Can you talk about other communities that might be friendlier? This one's pretty good. I think there's a challenge that and Joker, you bring up a really good question there. And you see this with a lot of the communities on the internet. People joke about YouTube, right? And there's I forget the name of the law, right? But there's a theorem about YouTube that it doesn't matter what it is you're presenting, in a YouTube video, within the first 10 comments, someone's going to bring up Nazis. If you watch the community walls on some very highly trafficked Twitch channels, it can get mean at times, and you'll see that there. Code Rushed hates Nazis. Well, there you go. Code Rushed said so. Gosh, while I have you here, let's take care of this real quick. I dub the moderator. There you go, Mark. Welcome to the. There's a sword for you. Thank you for helping out here. That's it. Godwin's Law. Thank you, Mr. Tethys. Yes, the comparison to Hitler becomes quick. And thank you for the follow, Pepsi Max's love. And Steve, you're getting a little sweaty there, buddy. You may want to towel off in a bit. Yes, let's continue. So, I think there's other places that you're seeing folks go to, like Slack, Discord. There's a number of very large communities in both of those that have tight moderation that help to make things a little bit friendlier for folks. I just recently started on... This is Edge. Why am I in Edge? Who opened Edge? I don't want to see Edge. I just recently checked out Mastodon. This is mastodon.technology. And I should probably tell these folks. I'm programming live on Twitch right now at... Let's do this. So Mastodon is a distributed microblogging platform just like Twitter, but you have these communities, and they're intended to be highly moderated, buried in glass. Thank you for the follow. Sword fight. Hey now. So Mastodon is intended to be highly moderated and focus on, with this distributed architecture that they have between Mastodon communities, you can communicate across various servers, but there is no central point of governance. That's pretty cool, because I can pick up my Mastodon account, and it sounds like I can move to somewhere else without really running into something. Hey, how's it going? It's going well, Bird in Glass. Thanks for joining us. So, Mastodon is trying to fill this problem, correct this problem. It's all open source. Anybody can download and start a server, but like I said, highly moderated. So I'm on mastodon.technology. You can find me out there. If you're using Mastodon, I am, let's see, at C#Fritz, at Mastodon dot technology. There you go. And they've got the integrations here so you can see the follows popping up. So check it out. I was thinking it might be neat to start a Mastodon server at some point, but I want to get my feet a little bit further into that community before I say, oh yeah, I need my own server, because that feels like a big commitment. There was a comment about CodeMate earlier. CodeMate isn't so much about using the tool, but we need to define the rules we wish to follow first, like which order we place properties, fields, methods. Does CodeMate save that configuration off so that we can ensure everybody gets the same configuration? Visual Studio Toolbox with our friend Robert Green. Might be fun to have Robert Green on the channel here at some point. I've got a laundry list of people I need to have on pair programming with us. And we're going to be doing a lot of that coming up. Particularly when I'm on the road, I'm going to have folks on with us. Drag and drop to reorganize, including multi-selection capabilities. McCabe complexity scores. I'm not familiar with McCabe complexity. What's McCabe complexity? Oh, cyclomatic complexity. Okay. Code reorganizing. Automatically generate regions to match. I thought nobody liked regions. I love regions. Comment formatting. Okay. Joining. Oh, okay. Gosh. This looks like a lot of the kind of stuff that I would do with CodeRush. Collapsing, progressing, switching. Okay. But the code cleanup stuff is really what we're looking for. Not bad. I've never coded. I've built some personal PCs, so I'm not a computer novice, but even at 40 and having a computer early in the game, I don't know where to start networking my house. Any advice on helpful literature? So you're let's back up a second. So Birding Glass, you want to put a home network into your house. I've done it two different ways. I've actually, in the first townhouse that I bought when I graduated college, Wi-Fi wasn't really a thing. So I purchased a townhouse that didn't have any drywall up yet. It literally was all studs, and I could choose and kind of, because it was new construction, define how it was going to be. And I actually called in the electrician, and I set up a deal so I could bring in a contractor, and I ran Cat 5 in the walls, and I put network jacks throughout the house. That was kind of cool. And then I just plugged everything into a hub in the basement that connected out through the cable modem, and things were done. However, I wouldn't go anywhere near that now. I have the wireless modem from the wireless router from Verizon, my internet provider. It's sitting on a shelf right here, and I've got things plugged directly into it. The rest of the house is pretty much on Wi-Fi. My kids are homeschooled. They're cyber schooled. They work on computers during the day here at the house. Mesh routers is a great thing. Laying wires around the floor and up the walls is pretty good if you're in a small enough house. I'm in a single family home. So what I did to get wire to the room where the kids effectively have school, I did punch a hole in the wall right near where my cable comes in. Ran wire up into the ceiling, into the attic, and then over to the chimney, all the way down into the basement, and then, because the school is on the first floor, right, the room that the kids use for school, and over to that room, up the wall, punched a hole in the wall, and then did the connections to the two plates. So I have a plate here in my office that connects directly to a plate down in the schoolroom, so that there's a hub down there that's connected directly in up here, so it's bridged. I put that in before on mesh routers. The mesh routers. Mesh routers are pretty good to get you connected. They're a little bit more expensive, But I've got a hardwired connection to the other side of the house. That works out pretty well. And then down there I have a Cisco router, a Cisco wireless router, so that I've got 2 routers in the house then that are connected, and they work pretty well together. But otherwise, just using the wireless, if you're in a single family home for the most part, that home wireless router should do everything you need. And I would definitely look into it. Mesh routers are a very cool thing if you need high bandwidth. If you're doing a ton of bandwidth, you got 3-4 people in the house at least, I definitely consider it, because you want to get as close to the router as possible. I don't have anything in the basement or behind concrete where wireless connectivity would become an issue. But and necessitate wanting to have a mesh router so I could boost my signal. But for the most part, I just have it extended and down on the other end. So my extender is actually a... Oh, nice. Thank you for the follow, Twitch Flash God. I appreciate you joining us. So mine is just a second router that's on the other side of the house. And Zytrus, thank you for the subscription. I appreciate you joining us using your Twitch Prime. But it does pretty much the same thing. To your clients, to your mobile devices, to your tablets, your PCs that are going to connect to the wireless, they all appear the same. Zytrus, with your subscription, I'll match that, and we'll make a donation to Girl Develop It, and support them so that women and underserved minorities can learn to write code, just like we're doing here. So I'm going to get back into the code. So I was showing you a little bit about CoreWiki earlier. Who here is constant that is not sub? I will gift the sub to that person. Gosh, Crows is, there we go. What brand of routers do I use? I have Cisco on the other side of the house is what I'm using. Speaking of code styles, can the Roslyn analyzers tell if a method is contained in a controller or API controller? I believe they can. They should be able to. We did some work a few months ago with Jason Bach, where we did some analysis of what classes methods were in so that we could do some inspection and notify raise light bulbs and that kind of thing to let Visual Studio help folks with that kind of thing. I think you should be able to do that kind of thing, but I haven't actually worked with the Roslyn analyzers that come with the new ASP.NET Core yet. Burning Glass says, I need mega Wi-Fi from spots in my home because even it being a single level ranch, all walls are brick and roof is tar and gravel. Oh yeah, you've got some. So Wi-Fi doesn't go through cement walls, brick very well, is what Burning Glass is running into. Oh man, that you got to be in really good shape then for tornadoes, that kind of. That kind of weather in your part of the world, I'm assuming. Wow, yeah, I would look into mesh networks. Troy Hunt has done a very nice piece about mesh networks in the past. Hey, there's a subscription for Ashley from Crows. Thank you so much for gifting the subscription. Really appreciate that. Atlanta, Georgia. There you go. So Troy did a great bit here about Ubiquity. This is what he used. And how he got this up and running. And Scott Hanselman has done something similar. So check out what Troy has to say about this. This may help you out. So I think that'll get you in the right direction. So, and then Scott actually brings a thing on the road where it will it'll connect him, it'll bridge him into his home network when he plugs this in, which is really weird because I've been in the same hotel as him. And he was on like the 8th floor and I was on the 7th floor, but we were literally on rooms just above each other and I could see his home network. It's like Hanselman Family Network. While I was doing work in my hotel room, I'm like, what the heck is that? So Powerline networking works great. Yep, you're right, ninjas. Ninjas? I really like the stream and want to support it. Thank you so much, Crows. I really appreciate you giving that gift to Ashley. That's awesome. But Ethernet over power adapters may work really well for you too, buried in glass. Yeah. Still need to watch that one. Don't have an analyzer I want to write yet. I kind of feel that way also. I got into a couple of analyzers and Roslyn analyzers can get away from you quickly. So this is CoreWiki. To go back to that explanation. So unwinding, let's back up here. Okay. Man, if I had ADHD, whew, that would be a problem. Yeah, networking in a hotel, absolutely. It does feel like black magic to have Powerline Ethernet. Yeah. Yeah, buoyant air. Gonna rewind. Gonna back up. See, there's a stack of topics that happen here inside Jeff's head, and we need to rewind and rewind the stack to where we started at here. All right, let's get back to this. Let's take off after this bit. So we had started using AutoMapper last time to map things between our domain objects and our DTOs, and we also took what was our... Oh my gosh, Mr. Tethys, thanks so much for sharing your Twitch Prime subscription with us. I appreciate you sharing that, and of course, I'll match Crow's gift subscription, and I'll match Mr. Tethys your subscription. We're gonna make a really big donation here next week to Girl Develop It, just in time for the school season. I am so looking forward to it. This is gonna be really cool. Thank you everybody for your contributions. It's a pretty big deal. It really means a lot to me. Okay. And please, everybody, you're getting the .NET bot emotes in chat, and I'm working out a way that I can send. There's a logo on order that we're going to see here in the next week or two, and to folks that subscribe after a certain amount of time, I'll send out sticker packs. I'm also looking at something for the 1-year subscription mark. When we reach that, I've got some ideas there that I want to gift you as a thanks for subscribing for that amount of time. So those are coming up. So there's a logo coming. I've got sponsorship coming, and I want to make sure that it doesn't get too invasive, and you shouldn't see too much of an impact here. But we've got some folks that want to contribute. They want to sponsor a little bit, and we're going to make sure they donate as well. There you go, Ashley. A couple of .NET bots for you. And it'll be great because that'll allow us to continue to support Girl Develop It and continue to grow a little bit of what we're doing here. So, code, I want to see code. You're right, my 987. So, let me explain what I want to do here, and let's start hacking on this code. We started introducing AutoMapper last time because we've now got this this distinct separation of layers here, where our details page, this is the page that actually gets the details of the articles that we want to paint on screen. Let's do this. Let's start another command prompt. Let's start CoreWiki again. I'm watching you. Run. Run. Okay. Watching. Hey, look at that, Lannon. All right. If I download the update and now make sure it renders properly. Sure. Give me just a sec and I'll pop that back open. So here is CoreWiki. There it is. So when it loads this homepage, this is actually coming out of this details page. It figures out what page it needs to load, and it loads that information. And we've still got some things here that we need to work out. But I did an HTTP GET, right? When you browse to a website, it does a GET. Get the contents of that site and paint it in my browser. So on the server side, I handle this on GET method. And right now, I'm using a tool called Mediator that says, well, go get the article with whatever the name of the page was that was requested. And if you don't specify the name of the page, I'm going to get you the home page. So I go get that, and assuming that I do find something, I do this AutoMapper map. Turn the information, the domain object, turn the DTO, right, the data transfer object. That's an object that we're going to use to pass between layers of the application. Turn that into this article details view model. Now, a view model it's another way to describe a class and object that we're just going to use to paint the content in our user interface. So this is specific to the web view model, right? This is specific to what we're presenting in the browser. So turn this from that, and it says domain article, but it's really going to be the DTO coming back. Right, this is returning, where did it go? Core domain article. Here, this. So right now it's returning what we're calling a domain object. This is going to change, and these are going to be more like DTOs. Simplified objects that don't have business logic in it, but are suitable for serialization, for converting into text or binary that we're just passing across application boundary lines. Just like we saw with the Twitch API earlier, where they're sending me information about a follow, and all it is 3 pieces of information. Who's doing the following, who they're following, and when it happened. Same thing here. Send me just, here's the title of the article, here's the content of the article, and those other data points you wanted to present on the screen. And I'm going to turn it into something that's appropriate for formatting and presenting in the browser. So that's what AutoMapper is doing. Now, I've got some other things here that we need to go into to make it, to clean up a little bit what's going on here, and to continue to move in that direction, because we're still doing some things where we're editing content directly, and I don't want to do that. So this post method occurs when you have comments that you want to, right? If you want to post a comment back to the system. There you go. Thank you for sharing the model. That's where we are. I'll open that up. Yes, please. Right, so here's the Razor page. So you post back to you read from the page, and you may be reading from the technology, which is presenting a view model. Or you may be updating that page, in which case you're going to send a request to update into the page model, which will go through commands into a DTO, and then actually does the update. So that's how these 2 interactions are happening. I'm doing this very simple request here that is saying get an article. Or I'm going to do something down here that says save an article. And right now, I have things like send the comment notification embedded in this page. Excuse me. See, my throat's getting dry from the surgery earlier. All right. So, I've got my web page knows about the business rules to send comments, but my web page is the front end of my application. It's the user interface. And user interfaces, they should be pretty dumb. They should be pretty stupid. So all they do is just format and present the content that they're told. this is business logic. This is, excuse me. This is, this is business logic. This is business rules that if we want to change, we should change them where our business rules are managed, not in our web page. Because, as you saw in our architecture diagram earlier, at some point we're going to introduce a mobile app, which would mean that this business rule would have to be copied over to that mobile app also. Now I've repeated myself. Now that business rule is in 2 places, and that becomes a maintainability challenge. We don't want to maintain that code in 2 places, because if we decide, you know what, we're not going to use this notification service, or maybe we're going to say, you know what, instead of send new comment email, we're going to send new comment text message. Well, I need to change that now in 2 places. I need to maintain it in 2 places instead of in a central piece of the application, our application server, or application, wherever that central piece is. And that's the type of refactoring that we've been working towards, that simplification that we're trying to make happen here, so that folks, when they do decide to extend and deploy and make whatever changes to this, have clearly defined areas that it's easy to plug in and say, okay, that's where I'm going to update. This is where I'm going to add an additional business rule. All right, I've blabbered on for about 4 minutes there since Brave Gober showed the diagram. Did I blow everybody out of the water? Are we on the same page here? What do you think? I love how you poke the uptime there. A little bit about Docker. If it's not a big pain, don't do it. I can definitely show Docker here. Yes. In fact, did we add... Isn't there a cake file in this project? I thought we had a cake file in this project. Is it up one? Yep. So there is a Docker file here. Let's see, we are at 11:45. And I don't have a cap on today. I can keep right on going. I've not actually seen one used in a code base before. Sure. Okay, so I've got 2 folks asking to see a little bit about Docker. I'm not sure that Docker works at the moment because the versions of Core in use are out of date. Armored 7, welcome. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. And hey, Steve, good to see you. Getting a little sweaty there, buddy. I hope you're working up a sweat trying to get the Clippers back into shape for next season. You got a little... Gonna need to get back into that, buddy. So what we need to do to finish the thought about the code, in this post, right now we have a bunch of stuff happening here to work directly with the database and then decide, do we need to send notification? And we want to make this an extensibility module. So our friend Miguel Castro, during our architecture workshop, and you can check that out on the YouTube channel. Ha! Look at that timing. There was the channel right there. If you go out to the YouTube channel, you can find the architecture playlist for our architecture workshop we had back in July. During the hour and a half about we had with Miguel Castro, he talked about introducing extensibility modules and moving this type of concern into the extensibility module may be a great place to be able to say, hey, send a notification in these scenarios. This way, our application server, where this type of interaction, notification, needs to happen, we can just wrap with a call to that notification module, and it'll just work. So moving this logic over to a notification module will help with that. So this is the next piece of refactoring that I'd like to do. Now the application works right now, and we should be able to move it directly into a Docker container. And I've seen a couple folks here say, hey, can we learn a little bit about Docker today? And I'm not opposed to doing a little bit of that because I like Docker a little bit. I think it's pretty cool technology. Let's see if we can add another folder here. I want to make it visible here. Let's call this build items. And I'm going to add some existing stuff in here. Yep. So I like to use solution folders for these types of things because it becomes really easy then to see exactly what's going on with the project. Yeah, good. And to be able to jump into these whenever I need to. So this is the Docker file that was built by, I think it was Matthias built this for us. He's one of the contributors, one of the core contributors to the Cake project. And what this does is this will build using the Cake build package, image. Now, this is a multi-step build. I'll explain. When you build things normally, right? So I was down here, right? Here's the application running, right, on the .NET Core command line. If I scroll up through all the console log, you will see, right, I executed .NET watch run, right? And, right, I can always run .NET run and it runs my application. Cake is pretty cool. I can agree with that. So .NET Run is how I kick this off, and that's nice. It does the thing, and my application is running. But in order for me to do that, I need to have a series of things lined up, and Ashley was hinting at it a little bit earlier, is that, and yes, Ashley, you can rep this stream and other streams now. Yes, Denerd, the bot is open source, and you can find it in the Stream Tools project on GitHub. Let's come back to that in a little bit because I've got some ideas I want to work on. So in order for me to build and run my application here, I need to have packages installed, right? And I need to have a certain version of that .NET command line. I have 2.1.302 running here. Right, do I have a global JSON forcing that? No, I don't. But if you look in the project folder here, and I go under, not bin, I go under obj, you have all of these things. Project assets JSON, NuGet cache, props, targets. These are all things that are being calculated and built out and laid down for me that specify how I reference all those other packages and things that I have as properties inside my project file, right? If I edit my project file, right, I have these package references. So I need to get those things and put them down somewhere so that it knows how to build them, and I need to make sure I have the right version of the target framework and the right version of the tool. So there's very much this lineup of, I need these versions of things, and they have to all match, and if they don't match, that's a problem. So, how do we make sure that everything matches? Well, here's where Cake comes in, and here's where Docker comes in. Cake lets you programmatically describe, here's how to build everything. So it says, well, here's the project, here's the solution file, and then here's a test project to test against it, and here's how to publish, here's where to publish everything to. And then this will go through and run clean on all the projects, make sure that everything builds properly, run npm, clean everything, blah, 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 blah. Okay? But Cake is a layer on top of this Docker file. This Docker file takes the Cake build capabilities, and it's going to run build against my project from inside the container. Now, why do you do that? Because this will force all of those features of things to be the same version, because I've specified that I want that version, right? This is specifying the 2.1 SDK, which is the same version that I'm using. Good. So that's lined up. Hey, Tall Pants. To open CoreWiki and VS Code. I don't have my VS Code here. I've got to pin that back down. Put that over here. Where did it go? Reload. Let me come back to that destroyer. It was site. No. Site.js. All right. There we go. Now those are lined up right. Looks good, Lannon. Not now. All right. Cool. So, where can I learn dynamic programming? What do you mean by dynamic programming? There is some Node.js in the cake file. There is. But it's not needed to run the application. It's strictly to build the application because we need to have NPM to run. Thanks for joining us, Aaron. Take care. But yeah, what do you mean by dynamic? Yep, it is just, this is only being included just to run NPM, the Node Package Manager. So we're going to get all of those features, all of those tools that we need to build, and we're going to put it into a container that we can effectively freeze in time. That says, here's where all of our tools are. This way, you're not like me and have a machine that has 8 versions of Visual Studio installed because you need all of the build tools going back to Visual Studio 2008 because you need to support people from 10 years ago. Because it feels like... Hang on, let me go get my SDK. Hold that thought. I'm getting on the AOL now. I'm going to go into a chat room and download my SDK. Whoop, wait for it. 28.8. Ooh, 56K. Yes, Mr. Tathis. It is classic. And having to have a machine that had the SDK installed on it, you've got SDK. Having to have a machine sitting in the corner that has the SDK on it, that has a version of Windows that's frozen in time, is not very maintainable. So people started saying, well, I don't want an actual piece of hardware sitting there because hardware fails. So they said, well, let's put it into a VM. So you have a VM that's running Windows 98 SE that has .NET 1.0 sitting in a corner with Visual Studio 1 installed on it, and that's how you compiled when you needed to go back and recompile the thing that Skippy, who hasn't been with the company for 20 years, wrote and you depend on. And that's a pain in the neck. So let's freeze that. Let's put it into an image. When you have that VM, you're in a pretty good place. But if we could put it into a Docker VM, we can load it up and we can compile and use it a lot easier. So that's what this is doing, is it's saying, go get that SDK version, right? Go get that SDK image that's frozen in time, that has my build tools for this, because in 10 years, that thing will still be available. And then grab my source code, right? Take my source code, what's in this folder, copy it into the source inside of there, because Docker is a virtual machine that's kind of hosted and hanging out there. Cake doesn't have anything to do with Cake, the PHP framework, right? No. Cake is like C# make, is where Cake came from. Great radio voice. I'm literally speaking another language, but I could zone out and listen for hours. Well, thank you, Buried in Glass. So the add statement says, take my current folders, copy it into this build container, and inside of it, build my application and set it up for publish, which will drop all the source code out of it. And somebody asked earlier, hey, Fierce Kittens, thank you for the host. Somebody asked earlier about publishing with source code. By doing this, you're not publishing source code. The publish target drops out all the source code. So all that you're actually publishing are compiled DLLs, compiled things that are optimized, ready to run. And in fact, that's what the next line does. The next line says, well, let's grab Microsoft's ASP.NET Core runtime. And it's a version that's frozen in time that matches my current version of the application. We'll go into the app folder there, and we're going to copy in from our build container the output, what we published. And when we run our application, when we say, okay, now run this thing. So there's two steps here. You first build your container, which effectively creates an image that is like a cookie cutter, right? This is our base image, and then when you actually run it, it'll execute this command. Now, I can run dozens of copies of this container, and Docker will manage them for me on our whatever host server that we're running against. Podcast when? What's the little doodad there? I've thought about podcasting, but I think Twitch is a little bit more interesting and a little bit more interactive. The .NET Rocks podcast crossover that we did, I think, is coming next week. So if you didn't see that, we hosted Carl and Richard from .NET Rocks, recorded a podcast live here on the stream. It's in the archive on YouTube if you want to see, and you can listen to that while you watch, or you can watch that while you're listening to .NET Rocks or one of those. Have fun with that. Trying to find the same link. Windows 95 and Electron. Yes, that's very cool. Our friend Christina Warren highlighted that on the channel this week in Channel 9. It looks neat. Doesn't support TCP/IP yet. So this will generate a Docker image for CoreWiki using Cake. Now, if I do this right, my build script here will actually install Cake, and then there's a way that I can call this here, and it will actually build the container. Installing Cake. Where is it? Excuse me. It passes the command zone. Helpers, tasks, clean, publish, npm install, restore, build, test, publish, appver, Travis. Yeah, where's it putting the image down? Or can I just... That's the Cake bootstrapper. Yeah. So I should be able to just do a Docker build, right? Up one. So if I do Docker build, and then I can specify the name, which is actually what they call a tag. So it's a -t. Let's call this CoreWiki, and let's call it version 1. Actually, what Docker images do I have here? Whole bunch of stuff. All right. Docker build -t. We'll call this CoreWiki and colon and then 1, right? That's the tag, right? You put a version number with this. That's just like this version number right here. So it can be any type of string you want up there. I'm simple. I'm putting 1. You can actually give it several tags. So I can say CoreWiki showing on stream, right? I could do all kinds of stuff like that and run it from right here. Now, this is going to grab that Docker file and start executing the pieces of it, including fetching that Cake image and actually going through and running this. So we should see in just a second some output from Docker here as it starts doing. The Microsoft.NET image is 1.77 gig. Yes, because they've brought in a ton of stuff so that you don't have to go fetch it. And that's just for building. The runtime one is a lot smaller. And actually, isn't that the Microsoft? Yeah. Right, so just for building, I don't care how long it takes to build. Deploying, that's where I want something small. Right, if I go up here, right, there's Microsoft.NET. Yeah, 1.73. But the runtime one is only 250 meg. And they're working on shrinking that down even more. So you're right, Tall Pants. That is a lot. Wouldn't it make more sense to start with the Node.js Docker image? Because assuming APT assumes the cake image is based off Ubuntu. Yes, it is. So Ubuntu, the Linux flavor, it is based off of it. And Smab's right. That's why we use the runtime for this. So this should finish downloading here. Come on. Move along. Let's go. Come on. This is for Core Project. Is it the same with .NET Framework 4.7 with MVC 5 apps? Oh, did I? Ah, there we go. Thank you. So installing everything, doing the stuff. Since, there we go. Here comes Node.js. So, .NET Framework 4.7 with MVC 5, it does this. You can do the same things, but it builds, instead of on an Ubuntu image, it builds on a Windows Server Core image. And if you think that image size for Windows was big, Ubuntu, yes. NuGet, NuPack, yes. The image size for Windows Server Core is like 5 gig, 5 to 7 gig. It is gigantic because you're literally running Windows in there. But you can do the exact same things. So, oh my gosh, look who's here. Caleb's here. Good morning, Glenn. 100 meg or so of that .NET image is Debian. Yes. And the Alpine images. Are the Alpine images ready? I know that we've been working on them. Do you need IIS? You do if you're using .NET Framework 4.7. For this, I'm running Kestrel. So it's ASP.NET Core. I can run directly Kestrel inside my container and put something in front of it that I may want to reverse proxy in. I could run Nginx, I could run Apache, and set up that reverse proxy to come down. So there you go. It built my image, CoreWiki 1, CoreWiki showing on stream. Alpine is on Docker Hub now. Ooh. We could try that. So if I look at my images now, there's CoreWiki, tag 1, and CoreWiki showing on stream. These are the exact same image. See, they have the same hash here, and they're only 331 meg, but it's got all of Debian in there, like Glenn was pointing out, and it's got all of my .NET stuff. So, do you think .NET Native will eventually mean we can have a single binary for the web app like we get with Go? .NET Native is very far off. And a single binary for the web app, that's should be possible with .NET Core 3, and how the talk around that is around being able to pull all of those things together. But why? Who cares? Alpine is on Docker and use it for GitLab CI. Fantastic. There you go. And I think you're right that we will see WebAssembly before .NET Native. So now I have CoreWiki hanging out here. I can actually run that, right? If I say docker run CoreWiki and I specify a port to listen to, I think it's... Oh boy, here we go. Yeah, it... if I just docker run it, it's going to show me which ports it's running on. Oh, I don't have latest. Give me one. I want to see what it outputs here. Specified framework 212 was not found. Oh, makes me sad. Did we update this to 212? 212. Rats. So here's what we can do. Can I do that? Is that a thing? So now if I do a Docker build and I do this again, make this CoreWiki 2. Let's see if this works. So these steps are actually going to be cached because we've already run them. And nothing's changed. So it's not going to have to redo that. The Docker image is 211. My new hat is coming is Aspire Backstranded hat from Control Freak. I recently started to play with VSTS running on Ubuntu VM on DigitalOcean, planning on hosting my build agent via Docker. I started to run into issues as the image of it was 8 gig. The image for VSTS? Don't know. I can't speak towards that right now. But there's a ton of stuff going on in there. Docker build is a good thing to throw onto your CI. Yes, it is. Because the CI, right, will then give you the exact same thing every time. And it, right, it's the same as when we used to build MSI files or install zip packages, right? You have the exact same thing every time, regardless of where that continuous integration is running. There you go. It pulled in 212. So now if I do a Docker run on that, I should get it running. Okay. App data, CoreWiki DB, unable to open database file. Why can't it open the database file? Should be there. Should be there. We've installed everything. Let's see, what do we got? VSTS has a philosophy of giving you everything you might ever need to build a thing. Yes, they do. It's literally everything in the kitchen sink. Haven't tested migrations and things in a while. Let me come back to your question. The only Cycan 213 is also available. We've been running from pre-existing database for a while. No ensure create as far as I know. I thought there was one in there. Should publishing to the registry be part of CI2? I disagree. I would check on that manually before doing. VSTS actually has filters in the pipeline while you're building so that you can, right, build your container, check it into a private registry, run your tests against it, verify that it meets all of your goals, and if it passes all of your quality gates, right, that's one of those workflow things, right, it passes all of your tests, then you can put it through some other workflow that says, X people have to sign off on it, and once it passes through that workflow, do a deploy out to the public Docker. Is the DB folder created? I don't know. Let's find out. Is it even copying in the app data folder? Right, because that's right. There's our. I mean, it sure looks like it's adding everything in, and I don't have a Docker file ignore, so it should take everything. And I do have a global JSON. Haha. Okay. How can we take a look at what's inside there? Right? Can't I do in a Docker exec CoreWiki 2 bash? No such container. What? Yeah, that's what I thought. Nope. Huh. Nope. Let's do this. Gotta run that in the background. Get him up and running. But it's gonna crash. Yeah. Can I do this? I need to put that in interactive mode. Now I've done it. Let's get rid of some of these. 65. For dog. 7.2. Dog alpha. All right. So it's just my stream tools running. All right, here we go. Right, so if I put this into interactive mode, yeah, that's what I was thinking. And I should be able to, there we go, attach in. So here's my application. And there's all the DLLs. Lots and lots of DLLs. Lots and lots. I don't see app data at all. Is it under dub? It shouldn't be under dub root. There's app settings. Yeah. Right, that error we got earlier. Rats. So from here, I should be able to, where is it? .NET run CoreWiki. And I'll see it. Oh, you make me sad. .NET CoreWiki. Come on. It's here, isn't it? Oh. Where's my CoreWiki? Or did I... Oh, it should be just CoreWiki. Right. Capital CoreWiki DLL. Fine. There we go. All right. So there is no app data wiki context. Yeah, there we go. You can chain remove Docker RM container. Oh, I didn't know you could do that. Really, Chris? Learned something new today. Soon CoreWiki will have a custom domain for sure. Our friend Benjamin Howarth was real set on buying that CoreWiki domain name. So app data isn't being created, which I think comes back to what we were saying earlier, right? So if I do my Docker PSA, there it is, Docker RMF 44. That's not how you spell Docker. You're kidding. Docker RM-F 44. Thank you. All right. So if we come back to what Smab was saying earlier, app data versus app data. Oh, Ciantic. Somebody already sniped the domain. CoreWiki.net is already taken, and it was taken literally minutes after we brought it up here on stream. And that's the one that I wanted, and somebody else, and it had to be somebody here watching on stream. I wanted CoreWiki.net. And literally somebody took it while we were on stream. And they want $200 for it. So, piss off. CoreWiki TV I could see going after. CoreWiki.info. There's a bunch of these that I could see taking. And Core.wiki. Is that available? Because that would be cool to get. Nope, somebody took that one also. $200. So. Yep. I hope whoever has core.wiki will give it to me. Hey, whatever. I'm using Namecheap. It could have been a bot. However, unfortunately, the who is private. Yeah. So. CoreWiki.net create date. Really? That's not. Hang on. CoreWiki.app is available. There was another one. Where was it? I saw that CoreWiki.net was taken like literally during the stream. There was one of these was taken during the stream last week. Yeah. It is registered with Namecheap, yeah. And it's not me. So anyways. Yeah. Right? Now you've got me paranoid thinking about this. Did I register that? I'm gonna go over here and look real quick. Which one did I register? Because I... Fritz and Friends stream, Fritz and Friends live. My domains... Nope. Nope, I don't have it. So, anyways. So our app data wasn't writing out, and somebody suggested, "Hey, is it the wrong capitalization? There is CoreWiki.cheap." Now cut that out. I don't want no cheap domain. I do want a cheap domain, but I don't want the .cheap. Is it app data like that? No. No. I understand what you're saying about the capitalization, and it's not that. So the problem that we're seeing here is that our default database isn't being created here. Wikicore.wiki. Now that just sounds like .NET Core.core. Right, you know about that one. Right, I can go up here and I can go get Microsoft ASP.NET Core.core. Wait a sec. There it is. No. ASP.NET Core, MVC, Core. CoreWiki.info. That's a good one. App data is not part of the publish. I'm hearing you guys say, you need to register. We need domain names. Try.net. Try.net is a thing. CoreWiki.info. Mine. No. Show me the other ones. No. .app. Okay. Where's the other ones? Yes, more. Show me more. No, I want all of them. No. CoreWiki site. No. I would do blog.corewiki to talk about that. Oh, CoreWiki Attorney. That's exactly one. So I've got info, online, app, pro, CoreWiki Lawyer. That's what we want, the CoreWiki Lawyer. CoreWiki LLC. No. CoreWiki Works. There it is behind my head. No. CoreWiki.org. No. CoreWiki Foundation. CoreWiki Community. No. CoreWiki GG. The GG is interesting, but no. CoreWiki Systems. CoreWiki Technology. CoreWiki Software. No. No, no, no. CoreWiki.net. Ooh. Is that a thing? Can I do that? Yes. Oh my gosh. It's like perfect. Okay, that's enough. Gimme. Do it. Yeah, okay. Sure. Right. Yep. Oh, that's an old credit card. And I just doxed myself. Stupid. Do. Yeah. Go. Pay now. Yep, that was an old card. But my address was there. I will be deleting any clips, and it will be edited before it gets published. CoreWiki.net, CoreWiki.app, CoreWiki.online, and CoreWiki.info. There we go. CoreWiki.net, CoreWiki Online, CoreWiki Info, CoreWiki App. And I've still got Fritz and Friends Stream. I've got a bunch of Fritz and Friends ones out there. So, all right. Okay. Where was I? So we've got to put app data into the container. We need to make sure that that's being created. Why isn't it going into the container? And linking to another container is certainly an option. On my machine.works. Oh, so I'm sorry, the only SciCam. Yes, let me come back to your question. Where did it go? It was here, and I... I'm looking through the chat. There we go. I took Steve Smith's clean architecture and tried to add React.js to it to use a JavaScript front end, but I've run into a lot of weird issues when trying to do server-side bundling for React. Should I try to continue and go down this road, or is there a better JavaScript front end? All JavaScript front ends should work with .NET. I'd be curious as to what kind of problem you're having. React is a good option for .NET. Moz! Oh my gosh! Good to see you, Moz. And I didn't realize you bumped up to get the all of the emotes there. Very cool. Running a file-based database that's provided through Docker runs makes it a little harder to make it distributed. It does, and that's why we want to make this a provider type of model where you can drop in whatever provider you'd like. So there's that. There's a super C# one. Yes, there is. But yeah, that's the big subscription to get that. And I think we call that the Directors Club, or something like that. So, anyways, Super Fritz, yes. So why isn't it including that folder and doing that create? Right, it should, our startup process should ensure that file exists. And I don't need this wiki content old. I can get rid of that. Goodbye. Tag helpers, view models. Where did I put the startup stuff? Is it down here? Yeah, there it is. Configure database. So there should be an ensure created here somewhere. Yeah, it's not. So that's CoreWiki identity context. And that's the application DB context here. So we should be doing this. I thought this guy was F# Fritz. No, he's on Fridays. That's where you'll find that guy. And remember to move the old version. F# Fritz is on vacation. Yes. Only works if the folder exists. The original question from SMAB, which was not missing it. Twitch noob here. I don't know how it all works. There's several versions of subscriptions, and if you choose to donate more through a subscription, you get additional emotes. Making future migrations fail because they try to reapply them. Yes. So right, this is being called, and it should build out those databases for us. And that README MD should even be copied in. So why didn't even the README get in there? Right? When it built, this is a do not copy. So it didn't copy over this. So it didn't create that folder for us. And the DBs are not set to copy to output. Which is okay because it should create it, but it's not even creating the folder because this isn't there. So, here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to take the README and I'm going to mark... No, go away. I don't want diagnostic tools. I'm going to take the README and I'm going to say copy always. And let's try to rebuild our container here real quick. There it is. We'll remove that. There it is. 3. Now it should copy to output that README MD, which means the folder should be there, so it should create the database for us when it goes and builds. Come on. Build, build, build. You know you want to build. And you can tell that it's building because it's actually going through all these things. Small sidetrack to Docker. Yeah, small. was to have copy to output set. Yes, it was. You're absolutely right. And, yep, we're in at about 2.5 hours. Is there an easy solution to first add all CS proj files to run .NET Restore first in Docker and make use of caching? Asks My987. That's actually the default way that .NET will build your Docker files. This is a completely custom Docker file that copies everything in and then does it. By copying in just the CS project files, you will get that type of interaction. You think you're going to learn to put your app in a Docker? No, it's not that simple. All right, so now I have CoreWiki 3. So now if we do docker run CoreWiki 3, let's put that like this. And nope, doesn't like it. And now look at that, it's trying to go to lowercase app. So let's try this. All right. Did it create... So I don't see lowercase app data. Did it create capital app data? Yes, it did. Now I've got the capitalization issue. Because it is case sensitive. My app still doesn't live in the cloud. Not yet. It will. So let's exit this. Let's take a look at that config file real quick. Because it's pointing to all lowercase. Look at that. So let's change our config file. Now I could do this through a environment variable setting. But I want that to actually be built and sitting in there properly. Let's make this CoreWiki 4. Yeah, Docker won't let you do globbing on the CS proj files. You're going to have to specify each one individually, which isn't terrible, but it's a pain in the neck to manage as your projects grow inside the solution. And here we go. That's fine. Okay. Here comes my DLLs. Running the tests. We should see 25 of 25. Good. Now it's publishing. Bundling all my code. Fantastic. 46 seconds later. Cool. Try it again. Okay, now it's listening on port 80. Now I haven't popped a hole for port 80 to come out yet. So let's do this one more time. And we're going to punch a hole through here. We're going to have, right, this goes outside in. So my outside port that I want to listen on, let's have it listen on 8000. And we'll have it route to port 80 inside. I've already got 8000 on something. Fine. Give me 8002. Okay. So now if I go to localhost 8002, there it is. And it's running with all the defaults. Now, images didn't come through. All right, our CoreWiki image up top here didn't come through. Right? Now, why is that? For the brand. Don't know. We would have to figure that out. Capitalization? You think so? Might be. Might be, but when I try and take a look at that, hang on. It's going to be easier to see over in this, in our layout. And I think you might be right. It might be. So navbar brand images icon 3232 white, which is images icons. I bet you all of these are not marked as do not copy. You're right, network tab should show me that. You're right. That's probably going to be an easier way to look at this. I'm looking for some 404s here. No, it's there. It found it. So that's the CoreWiki logo. Why didn't it pick it up? Is the alert for the cookie policy hiding it? No. Oh! Okay, maybe it was. So that's a different logo that it's upset about. That's interesting, right? Because that is span FAS, FA info circle. Right, that's a font awesome thing. Ah, good catch there. Who wrote that? Yeah. Ancient Coder. That's who got it. Thank you, Ancient Coder, catching that. Should not be copy as they're marked as content. Yeah, they are marked as content. So that should be fine. It should just go along for the ride. And it sure looks like it did. But this is a font awesome thing that is dropping this. And font family, blah, 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 blah. Did it not get the font awesome font? Right? This is FA-2X. Right? That's info circle. FA info circle. Right? Isn't it Fort Awesome? Ooh. It is fontawesome.com. You need to make that an I, not a span. Okay. So that is FA info circle. Yeah, okay, come on. Well, that's... Info circle. Ah. One of these. That came out of the default templates from ASP.NET. Glenn. All right, so that is out of the policy, right? Comments partial. Where is it? No, that's the privacy policy page. Cookie consent. Navbar header, navbar toggle. There it is, right there. It wasn't with FA4, but if you're using SVG, FA5, it has to be an I. I think you saw some other font awesome icons did not load either. Should be the JS font awesome. Yeah, we are using the new one. So if I run, right here it is running locally. And if I crush my cookies for wait a sec. That's that one. Nope. You'll quickly see whether an I will work. Yeah, let's do it with the inspector. That's a good idea. I like that idea. It is here. So if we change this to an I, still doesn't work. Right, and there were a couple other icons. Where else do we have some core? Here's one, right? That's one right there. Yeah, that one's not working. On the search. Right, it's a button. And that's an I, and it's not working. Errors in the console tab. Let's take a look-see. E is undefined under simple MDE. So it looks like simple MDE didn't load properly. Is the CDN... Wow, aerodynamic fetus. Well, that's interesting. Mismatch in Shaw sums for the font awesome. Nope, we're getting... Here, simple MDE is not... Right, this is... Yeah, that's minified. Good luck. So... Well, wait. It's trying to paint this on the screen, even though it's not actually there. I mean, we're just newing it up at this point, but... File an issue on GitHub. If I just run this locally, just run... We are in project data. There it is, project new data. You can see it there in blue next to me, right there. Come on. There it is. So let's go to the locally running one. Still get the same error. And font awesome works. If the libraries are loading before jQuery, no, this is something in the distribution into Docker. What you've seen, let's make sure we have this right. The question that led us down towards Docker is, hey, how does Docker work? What's the advantage of using it? The advantage is I've prepackaged everything, and I've got now a default image that anybody could download and use to host their CoreWiki application. This is now effectively available. Right, I've got a bunch of these here. Let me remove the old ones. A0, F6, 50, 4 Echo, 0 Baker. Wow. Thank you, Chris, for that tip. That made my life a heck of a lot easier. Hey there, Brendan. Good to see you. So, it's in a package now. Right, if you look at my images, I could deploy this image and make it available for anybody to download and use if they wanted to if they wanted to run their own CoreWiki. And it'll just run and be sitting there. Now, okay, we've got a configuration issue here we've got to address, but you could download that and run it wherever you'd like. And that's okay, right? That's the point of this, is you have a package you could run. And I think I'm going to be wrapping up here in just a little bit, Brendan, only because I'm feeling it. And I've got some work I've got to do here to get ready. I've got some new equipment coming. I've got a new camera. I've got a new soundboard. I've got a new microphone. I've got soundproofing I'm installing here in the Fritz home office. I've got a lot of gear that I'm getting set up. This is a Rode Podcaster that I'm using right now. Yeah, and that's the intention. Is I can only grow my channel as fast as I can, but I can grow our developer community a heck of a lot faster, and empowering other developer channels so that we end up growing our community beyond just the folks that tune in at 10 a.m. Eastern Time to watch me is something that I think is going to not just grow folks like Brendan's channel, but also Serpent AI and Code Rushed and some of our other friends that are doing development streams here. And I think if we can grow that community, it's going to benefit everybody. And as things like the Visual Studio channel come online, everybody's going to benefit from that. You as viewers are going to get great content that is all presented in one place, and you can jump off and watch and follow those folks as well. And I think there's going to be some great stuff that we as a community are going to grow into. We've got friends like Mitch Munster, I think I pronounced his name right, who are starting on Mixer, brand new stream. He's going to be presenting over there. And Kevin Griffin is starting up, and he's presenting some really cool stuff. Rock Zombie, thank you for hosting. I really appreciate you joining us here. And Kevin's going to be doing some stuff from his channel, and he's got his user groups that he's going to start presenting on Twitch. And there's a great opportunity then for us to be able to participate in other user groups around the world through Twitch. And I think that's a tremendous opportunity to watch some great content that you might not be able to access. Smab says Font Awesome is referenced directly, so it shouldn't be affected by the Docker publishing. Yeah, I thought. Okay. Unless the container doesn't have internet access other than responding to inbound connections. Let's poke into that just for a second there, because Ashley, I don't think it's a NAT issue. If I'm referencing Font Awesome in my head tag here, it's being referenced and loaded by me right here. So this is being loaded by my... It's being referenced in the head here, and then down here in the script, it's coming off of Ajax ASP.NET CDN for jQuery, right? jQuery, simple, blah, 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 yeah, whatever. That's a plugin, but Popper.js, I'm thinking, because we're in production mode. Follow me for a second here. I think we found it. Ashley, I think you just led me to where I needed to go. Sir Hat E7, thank you so much for the follow. Let's I think I've got this. Let's try and run this one more time. So I'm going to do docker run, but I'm going to pass in an environment variable. And I'm going to pass in ASP.NET Core environment equals development. So I can pass environment variables with the -E command line, and it's going to put it into development mode. Now if I come back over here and I reload this at that same location, but now I'm in development mode, Boom! And it works. So what did we learn here today? Production is not the same as development. If we look in our page layout, here's our footer. Environment. Include in all of our environments named development. We're going to include jQuery, Popper, Bootstrap, FontAwesome. In our environments that are not development, jQuery, Popper, Bootstrap, no FontAwesome. There it is. So, like Brave Cobra saying, we didn't include this script for FontAwesome down here in production. So, here's what I'm going to do, because FontAwesome needs to come after the jQuery stuff. And probably before Site.js. I'm just going to take this and move it down. Why copy it and have it in two places? We're always referring to it the same way. I'll just put it right there. And if I go back to my running CoreWiki, this should just work. Because we're always pulling it remotely. Yep, I think you're right, Smap. Looks good. I will rebuild. Is it this one? Yep. Oh yeah, I didn't build it yet. Docker build. And now it's going to have to rebuild the whole thing because I changed some content. We could include it the same way as the others if we want a full offline version. Great idea, Brave Cobra, because using Docker like this, we're actually putting everything inside of the container. So if we wanted a full offline version of everything, and if you look in our source code, we're referencing the CDNs when we're running and having a fallback version locally. We could do something similar here and have a fallback version locally in case you can't get to the CDN version. We certainly can do that. So I think that's something that could be considered, and that looks like an easy update that if somebody wants to send a pull request, more power to you. So that should take care of the last of that issue. Cool. And now if I do a Docker run, I'm not going to run that. We called it showing on stream. It's the same image. And it should just run. There it is. So go to the one on 8002, reload, and there it is. Did I pass through? Nope. So it's running in production mode, and I've got everything running properly here. It can be pulled with libman now. It wasn't available via package JSON. Ooh, okay. File an issue on GitHub for a PR. Yes. Sudo asks, do you mentor? I think you're right, stand by reloading. That's kind of what I'm doing here. What do you have in mind, Sudo? Sudo? Yeah, I think that's right. What I like to do here is I like to answer questions from folks that, and I answer. No question is off the table here. I pay a lot of attention to the chat room. I want to make sure that folks who want to learn have an opportunity. Sudo, okay. Sensei Fritz. But I want to make sure that folks get the input they need from here. And I'm happy, and we've got a very friendly chat room that's more than happy to ask, but if there's something you want to take offline, there is a Discord that you can see, a Discord server down below. If you're interested in asking questions offline, if you want to connect and there's anything further, but I'm not going to be hands-on teaching. Oh my gosh, Ashley, I'm American. I am terrible with the character sets there. I don't know how to read that. I'm sorry. But that looks cool. Sensei. Okay. It just says Sensei. Okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. I try and style myself as a little bit of a teacher here. So, you must pay attention to Master Jeff and he will teach you the ways of C# foe. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So what I could do now that we've got the Docker container working, we figured out where that those couple pieces of connectivity weren't working. I could push this to somewhere public, and then people could use CoreWiki, right? Could download and use this wherever. And I could make that part of a VSTS continuous integration step, like we were saying earlier. If it passes all of the tests, when we do a release build, publish and push it out to the Docker Hub. We could do that. Not a terrible idea. And then folks can start using this, deploying it to wherever, configure your default administrator, build out things however you'd like them to be. I think there's a little bit that we want to do. I like having this here that says, oh, thanks for starting up. You need to configure a little bit more security around this. But I think there's some other things that we want to do as we finish our new architecture that allows you to say more than just, here's a SQLite database to save my content, or to persist my user configuration. I'd like to be able to persist that in a SQL server. I'd like to be able to use MySQL, Postgres, Redis. I'd like to use Azure Storage, AWS, I think it's block storage over there, to store some of these files. Those types of providers and extensibility are what we really want to enable as we get through these steps here in configuring, doing that initial configuration when you start this up. Caspius Labs, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. That's going to get us to 3307. I think we may have pulled 10 new followers today. That's really cool. Thank you. Thank you so much. 3308, that's where it gets us to. Awesome. So we've learned a lot today. And I am right up against 1 p.m. That's an extra hour for me. Let me just run a git status here, and let's do a git cleanup. And let's clean up, and let's set up a raid to head over to Dev Chatter, because wow, we did a lot today. We talked about the Twitch API and interacting with that API at the beginning. We went through and we did a little bit here. Only 11 a.m. We talked a bit about our architecture and how it's been shifting and updating here. And we're ready to take some next steps in building on that architecture. And I think when we come back on Tuesday, we will do more on that. CoreWiki, of course, is available on GitHub. If you want to put together a pull request, if there's some things here that you want to enhance, that you see that are pretty interesting that we can work with, feel free to submit a pull request. I'm always happy to review any submissions that come in to enhance and push us in the right direction. Thanks for the links there. We're going to continue with this. Let me throw a quick git commit in here. Updated to be able to run CoreWiki from a container. And I will push that up. I am now signing my commits here so that you can tell it came from me. Were rejected, contains work you do not have locally. Okay. fine. I'm going to have to fix that. That's going to be annoying. All right. Now git push. There we go. Cool. So now those changes are up there, so now we can make that work. This should probably be a different branch. The container stuff is in dev, but it's not quite ironed out. So we can iron that out. We can cherry pick that across. So thanks so much, everybody, for joining and watching today. We are going to set up for a raid over to our friend Dev Chatter. If you want to stick around, if you want to watch a little Dev Chatter, I encourage you. I think he just started. Let's take a look. See here. Doesn't look like he started yet. Is he starting? Let's see here. Let's see. Solid Saturdays. All right, looks like he's about to go. So if you want to stick around, we're going to run over to Dev Chatter, say hello, let him know that you came from over here. Drop a bunch of C# bots. Thanks so much for the kind words, McNerdius. Yep. And we'll be back on Tuesday. We'll be writing some more code. Thanks so much for the kind words, Crows. I appreciate it. Take care. We'll be over on Dev Chatter in just a second. And of course, this video will be available a little bit later.